Come fly with me, let's fly away.
As I said in the first film, one of the cool things about online classes is you can pretty much do them anywhere. And as right now you see I'm in the pool with the kids, it's kind of nice. I've never taught class from a pool before. I just got to make sure I don't get the computer wet or anything like that. I might get in a little bit of trouble. But anyways, I hope you've been enjoying the films. Congratulations, this is the last one. After today, you are done having to watch these horrible things, and you've only got one more week of assignments left. With that said, I hope you are well in the midst of your final project. I don't want any of it to jump up on you guys. I've been hoping that these past week or two you have been getting ideas, working towards figuring out how the technology works and getting some semblance of a film made. So hope that's all going well. Today we're going to be looking at Latin America, and I want to give you guys a warning. I was one of the worst students in Spanish there was, both in college and high school. Anytime I took Spanish, the teachers just laugh at me. I can't roll my R's. I can't do it. Tongue-tied. So I have a problem with that. So if you hear any mispronunciations, and it's funny because I did grow up in a very Mexican part of town growing up as a kid. If you hear any mispronunciations of any of the words, any of you guys who speak it a lot better than I, just go with it. I apologize. So anyways, here's the little film I made up, and as you see, I got the best of both worlds here. They're happy, I'm happy, and I think I can watch me. I can see them there. Alright, see ya. While the area south of the border is typically called Latin America, this can be deceiving. While it is true that a good part of this area speaks Spanish, there are many enclaves whose cultures hail from other regions or are more influenced by the indigenous people who were there first. Central America, South America, and the Caribbean make up a little of over half of all the land in the Western Hemisphere. Found more eastward than many people think, South America's most western spot lies at about the same longitude as Florida, and it juts out into the Atlantic connected to North America by the then Isthmus of Central America, which firmly attaches it to the underside of the United States. The western side of Central and South America consists of mountains which have been made by tectonic plates colliding together and are part of the Ring of Fire which borders the entire Pacific Ocean. The islands of the Caribbean are also found among plate boundaries, and earthquakes are quite common in both areas. To the east, the land flattens out, and one could find the broad expanse of the Amazon rainforest, one of the biggest forests in the world, which straddles one of the longest rivers in the world, the Amazon. Long before this area was discovered by Europeans, the indigenous people of the Aztecs, Mayans, and Incas built some of the most impressive civilizations known to man. Entire cities with complex buildings, governmental systems, and impressive academic findings made these people no small empire. More impressive is how well the Incan Empire flourished in an area so harsh for the existence of an organized state that a lot of their ruins are found in areas that still today are not part of any organized country. These people groups existed for centuries until contact with the Spaniards, who in mere years conquered and destroyed these empires with surprisingly small forces. The Spanish weren't the only people who found themselves in this land. The Portuguese had landed already in Brazil, and to keep a conflict from happening between these two Catholic forces, the Treaty of Tordesillas was signed. Did you ever have that disagreement with your sibling if you were sharing a room? Whose side was what? Well, the Treaty of Tordesillas was like that. Pope was kind of like the father. And what the Pope did was he kind of drew a line down South America, giving one side to one and one side to the other. The Portuguese got the eastern side, which at that time seemed to be the better deal. They knew how much land was there. It seemed like there was a lot. They were given it because they were established down there. And the Spanish were pretty much at that time just messing around in the Caribbean. Well, as time went on, that undefined land that wasn't known actually became the bigger part of land, and what appeared to be a good deal to the Portuguese when it was first issued they ended up getting the short end of the stick. They got the smaller part of the room, and that area would become Brazil. Now, the Portuguese didn't stick exactly to the line, and the Spanish didn't mind so much as Brazil kind of went past that line. The Amazon rainforest really made that land very inhospitable anyways, but one of the main reasons why most people in South America speak Spanish is because of this treaty. And I just kind of find it an interesting thing. So, here you are, back to the film. This treaty looked like it initially favored the Portuguese because it gave them the land on the eastern side of South America, which was already explored and closer to Europe. But as time went by, things looked to be better for the Spanish. There was a lot more land to the west of that line, and this area was soon discovered and exploited by the Spaniards. Other nations, such as France, Holland, and England, would later establish smaller colonies in the New World, but they were all relegated to the area in or around the Caribbean Sea. Independence came quite quickly to the region shortly after America's independence. Haiti's slave revolt effectively pushed the French out, and Simon Bolivar worked to remove the yoke of Spanish leadership from many of the Spanish-speaking nations. The U.S. would in the 19th century effect the Monroe Doctrine, which claimed that European nations no longer had a role to play in the region, and that only America could interfere in this region, something it did quite commonly during the late 19th and early 20th centuries. It is interesting to note that this region of the world is the most urbanized area of anywhere in the world. In some places, over 80% of the population lives in cities. Mexico City has the third largest population in the world, while Sao Paulo in Brazil ranks at number 7. Even with most people congregating in cities, huge tracts of the Amazon forest are being destroyed for farming by poorer residents who so mismanage the land that they use it up in a few years and then just move farther into the forest to take still yet more land. The impact this will have upon the world as a whole is still unknown, as the Amazon forest produces a lot of oxygen. Poverty is a real problem too in many of these nations, with Haiti being the worst in the Western Hemisphere. Drug trafficking also is a problem, and at times is the only method some of these poor people have of making a living in their economically stunted countries. Tourism does play a role in a lot of Caribbean nations, but most of this money hardly trickles into the slums, and the squalor is kept from many prying tourist eyes. With Asia emerging though, the west coast of Latin America, particularly Chile, could find their fortunes changing as they ride this new wave of economic progress. Well, there you guys have it. The first film I ever created from a pool, and I gotta tell you, if you get a chance to, I would take your course in the pool. It's kind of nice. It makes it a lot more easier, a lot more enjoyable. But anyways, as you see, I think that the kids are more interested in what's going on here than what's in the water. I've got to take off, play with them a little bit. You guys want me to come back there and go swimming?
Yeah!
So, I hope you enjoyed this. This is the last one. Good luck on that project. If you've got any problems creating a film, let me know and shoot me an email, and I'll try to get back to you as quickly as possible. I'm pretty proficient on both iMovie and Windows Movie Maker. So if you've got any problems, I'd be more than happy to help you guys out. So good luck. See you later. I know I'm going.
Brazil, where hearts were entertaining June. We stood beneath an amber moon and softly murmured someday soon.